Call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody here. I'd like to call on Councillor Cari to bring the opening, please.
Thank you. Past weekend was Father's Day, and I hope everyone had a chance to either celebrate as fathers or with their fathers and enjoy that special relationship. My father has been gone for a number of years, but there's still some very fond memories that I have of him and happy ones. So I thought for a change of pace, I would give you some funny Father's Day sayings.
Yes, I'm still father.
You have a problem with that? All
right, go ahead, Councillor Penner.
All right, here's some things that a dad would never say. Can you turn up that music? Go ahead and take my truck. Here's $50 for gas. I love your tattoo. We should both get new ones. Here, you take the remote. Here's a little story. On the day I received my learner's permit, my father agreed to take me out for a driving lesson. With a big grin, he hopped in behind the driver's seat. Why aren't you sitting up front on the passenger's side, I asked. Kirsten, I've been waiting for this ever since you were a little girl, Dad replied. Now it's my turn to sit back here and kick the seat. And here's some quotes of dads of famous people. Not quotes, I should say. Thoughts. So Christopher Columbus's father. I don't care what you've discovered, Christopher. You could have written. Michelangelo's father. Mike, can't you paint on the walls like other children? Do you have any idea how hard it is to get that stuff off the ceiling? Napoleon's father. All right, Napoleon, if you aren't hiding your report card inside your jacket, then take your hand out of there and prove it. Goldilocks' father. I've got a bill here for a broken chair from the Bear family. Do you know anything about this, Goldie? And Albert Einstein's father. But Albert, it's your senior picture. Can't you do something about your hair? Styling gel, mousse, something? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Penner. It's good to laugh now and again. We have the agenda in front of us and there aren't any changes. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? Councillor Fair, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favour? Thank you. We have the minutes from June 7th regular council meeting in front of us on page 1. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please? Councillor Seaman, second by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favour? Carried. All right, we will now move to the reports and recommendations from the City Manager. We have 8A 2016-2017 Secondary Water Supply System. This is on page 4, Mr. Workentine, and I'll just ask you to give us a background here and then we'll go from there.
All right, Mr. Mayor and for members of council, there is an attached report in the agenda package that starts on page 5. It does provide a brief overview of the proposed project. Specifically, the project proposes to proceed with the formal design and engineering that's required for the water supply expansion project that the City of Steinbach has been planning for many years. The City has recently concluded the initial testing phase that occurred over the previous 3 years to determine the quality and capacity of the aquifer that feeds the city's water system. Like I said, the work has now been completed, and what is being proposed is that the water supply system for the City of Steinbach be expanded, specifically with a plant that is generally expected to be located at the northwest corner of the city, nearby Park Road West. The proposals that were reviewed by administration, also by recommendation, is that the work for that supply system design be approved. Of or be awarded to AECOM for the amount of $350,470 plus estimated expenses of $7,510. Recommendation is for City Council to award the project to AECOM.
Thank you. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swykstra.
Make a motion that we approve the award.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Penner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the city continues to grow, we obviously need to take care of basic infrastructure. And one of the things that's very important is our water supply. We need to make sure that we have adequate supply, not just for now, but for the medium and long-term future. And so it is appropriate for us to look into expanding our water supply. As the city manager mentioned, we're looking at a plan to the northwest corner of the city. And so this recommendation, this award, is for the company AECOM to begin the design work. And so obviously we need to have the design work done in order for us to be able to proceed. So I think it makes sense to move ahead.
Thank you. Anything further? Anything further from Council? Seeing nothing. Council, before I call for the question, I think this is an important project. This is going to not only improve the water quality throughout much of the city, it's going to increase reliability. It will also increase capacity so that we can have an ever-expanding or an expanding city. And so with that, I think it's good that we're moving forward with this. Obviously, we are going to be looking for provincial and possibly federal partners with this project to make sure that it is affordable for our city. But I think the initial design is important to get underway. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We will then move to 8B, Council Expense Policy on page 25. Council, this was reviewed at a Strategic Priority Committee meeting, and this comes as a recommendation. Mr. Workington, anything further to add?
No, there was actually there's just minor. There were two policies that were reviewed by Council at the committee meeting of May 24th. One was in particular the Council expense policy starting on page 25, and also the corresponding employee expense policy starting on page 30. Recommended changes are noted in red in the documents, and I will be happy to answer any questions if Council has.
Thank you. Council, any questions? How would you like to proceed? Is there a mover? Councillor Penner? You move the, on page 29, there's a motion to adopt the expense policy. You move that. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Penner.
This is just a very minor update, basically, to the meals policy for Council. It's not a big raise or anything of that sort, just kind of tweaking to keep in line with, I guess, inflation and rising costs as time goes on.
Thank you. Anything further?
Nothing further.
Anything further from Council? Seeing none. Council, we obviously, this is about 4 years, every 4 years we review this to make sure it's up to date. There are a few minor changes. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We then have the employee expense policy on page 30. Mr. Worthington, anything more to add?
No, that policy recommendation is similar to the Council expense policy.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on page 33. Is there someone willing to move that? Councillor Seaman, second by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Further? Anything further from Council? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. All right, we do have 8D, that's the tender awarded. You did get an additional package in your bins earlier on. Mr. Workington, I'll ask you to introduce this.
As Mr. Mayor mentioned, there was a supplementary information package that was put in Council members' bins yesterday. It does include documentation and information related to the proposed City Hall addition. Tenders were issued earlier this spring, recently closed, with the tender being of interest to 5 different bidders, as is noted by the recommendation to award from the city's architects. MMP Architects Ltd. Has recommended that the tender for the construction project be awarded to Penco Construction Canada 2003 Ltd. for the amount of $1,366,532. and to also award some additional work for resurfacing a portion of the existing roof for an additional amount of $74,222, with the total amount being just over $1.44 million. Recommendation from both the architects and from administration is to award the tender.
Thank you. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Fair?
I'll move that we accept the tender from Penco Construction.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Penner. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is something that we've been working on for several years. We've delayed it several times because we always felt we didn't have enough funds to do that, and I'm glad that it's going forward, and I'm glad that it's going in, coming in under budget. So,
thank you. Further discussion?
Yes, I'm also very happy to see this go forward. We have been waiting a while for this, and so has city administration. It will provide a lot of extra room for office space that is sorely needed, so I'm very happy this is going forward.
Thank you. Further discussion? Anything closing? No? Council, obviously this has been put off for quite a number of years. I remember talking about this probably 7 or 8 years ago at least. I know it's important that we continue to have adequate facilities and have have the right departments under one roof here at City Hall. Seeing that this tender has come in under budget, which is welcome, I think it's good news for us as council, and I look forward to having this project completed in the coming year or so. Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Mr. Workendine, when do we expect this to commence? Besides that, it looks like it almost has, but it's actually a different project.
Yes, they're somewhat related, but separate from this particular award was the hydro and cabling servicing for the building that needed to be addressed before the project could proceed. I do expect that Penco will mobilize in the next about 3 weeks and begin construction around mid-July.
Thank you. We are now at 7:45. We will move to our delegation. We have a delegation here from the Eastman Tourism Group. We have Executive Director Jenny Dupas, and as well as Secretary Treasurer Leslie Gaundry. So welcome here. I'll ask you to take the podium, state your name and your, you don't need to tell us your address because we're not at a public hearing, but state your name and we'll give you a few minutes to make a presentation.
Thank you very much. My name is Leslie Gaundry and I'm a volunteer with Eastman Tourism and I work as a Community Economic Development Officer for the Municipality of Reshot. What you have with you is our presentation, so you can follow along. I've also included some supplementary materials that I'll refer to so that you have them for reference and you can review them later. I'll just go right into the presentation. So thank you for having us. And today I'd like to go through sort of a general presentation that includes a background, current, a bit of an analysis and some recommendations that we would like to present for you. So the background is that Eastman Tourism Association, we're one of 6 regional tourism associations in the province. We're a non-for-profit organization with a board of directors and we have a membership base. We receive operating funding from the province of Manitoba and we currently have 15 out of 24 RMs and towns that are members of our organization, as well as some businesses and non-for-profits. Eastman Tourism is responsible for tourism development and promotion in Eastern Manitoba. We have a passionate and experienced board of directors. We have an established vision, mission, an annual strategic plan, annual financial review, organizational aims, and an experienced executive director, Jenny. Our operations and our work throughout the year result in some of the following work that's been completed. We have partnerships where we create the From Scratch Unique Eateries initiative, which you have in your package. We did that with the Manitoba Rural Tourism Network. We also do an annual visitor guide, and we have online channels for communication and promotion that include website, the map, and social media. We have industry engagement where we partner with businesses, specifically training, where we partner with Manitoba Tourism Education Council. And we have access to special projects funding where we've been able to undertake multi-day adventures, pamphlets, itineraries, and we have supplementary videos that are going to be coming online shortly. Eastman Tourism operates on the premise that tourism is an important and diverse economic activity in the Eastern region. The economic impact of tourism is demonstrated by the economic profile sheet that we've provided for you that's been published by Travel Manitoba. Tourism as an export sector ranks as one of the top 5 and actually outnumbers the sale of wheat in Manitoba. So we're right in between pork and wheat. Tourism visitation generates $28 million in direct tax revenues, which is then reinvested into communities. There's 236 businesses that partner with Eastman Tourism and Travel Manitoba to promote our region and the province as a tourism destination. Currently, the City of Steinbach is not a member of Eastman Tourism, and we feel that this leaves an administrative as well as a promotional gap in our work plan. The City of Steinbach is an important location for tourism and is one of our 2 major urban centers in the Eastern region. So when 50% of our urban members are not participating, it affects all of us. We aim to be efficient and effective in our operations, and we'd like to expand to include the City of Steinbach. Current tourism and activities and trends that directly relate to Steinbach that we follow, these are just some examples. The Steinbach Chamber of Commerce we engage with. One of the star attractions in our region is in the City of Steinbach, promoting the Heritage Days and Summer in the City. There's a new business in your city that is promoting and going to be starting to engage with youth tourism, such as the Business Board Shop. Printing our regional guide at Dirksen Printers to support local commerce. TripAdvisor currently ranks Steinbach as the #2 destination in the province with a top 10 list. Travel Manitoba has a Steinbach page. Manitoba Hot recently did a listing on the Mennonite Heritage Village, and there was 350 people that liked it on Facebook within 3 hours. Continued tourism and support from the businesses in and around Steinbach help, and they pay local taxes. We feel that this list could be expanded, integrated, and further developed in the Eastman Tourism Work Plan with the engagement and the membership participation from the City of Steinbach. Eastman Tourism would like membership participation from the city for the reasons cited above, but also because there's an increased momentum for tourism in Manitoba. Travel Manitoba has recently secured a sustainable funding model with the province of Manitoba called 96-4, and that has potential to expand further. This funding model is significant because it's going to directly relate how we can operate and our reach and our potential. We will be receiving, the 6 regional tourism associations will be receiving an additional $250,000 in the 2016-17 year. Most recently, the Manitoba Chamber of Commerce Policy Registration Handbook decided that tourism should take a precedent and that it is a contributing sector to Manitoba's economy. They've developed a new committee. This committee has provided recommendations in the handbook to include showcasing and supporting arts and creative industries in Manitoba, as well as a road travel rebate incentive program for incentives for the U.S. market who are within a 4-hour drive. The Manitoba Summer Games are coming to Steinbach in August 2016, and Eastman Tourism has not been engaged with this initiative. This is a challenge due to our lack of awareness for the events, activities, and offerings for the tourists who are entering our region. In a reciprocal nature, Eastman Tourism would be pleased to promote the Manitoba Summer Games and the supplementary activities that occur through our marketing channels on our website, Facebook, and Twitter. Currently, the City of Steinbach is not able to fully utilize all of Eastman Tourism's membership benefits. The membership benefits are listed in your package, but just a few highlights include a visitor guide and profiling your city on our website, Google Map tags, linking websites directly, identifying grant and funding resources, participating with our subsidized marketing program with Travel Manitoba, where if you were to do that on your own initiative, if doing it through Eastman Tourism, you can actually save up to 50% on some of these partnerships. We also, currently with our advertising and our regional guide, we distribute 15,000, and that also includes every household in Steinbach. Eastman Tourism would like to include and enhance our engagement in order to have a more accurate, contextual, and geographical representation of all the tourism assets and products and experiences that we find here in the city. Eastman Tourism would like to recommend that the City of Steinbach participate in the membership with our association and designate an appropriate contact or delegate for tourism-related information, events, and activities as they are occurring. Should the City of Steinbach obtain membership, Eastman Tourism could right away increase engagement with a number of small businesses who otherwise would not afford their own or could not afford their own membership, and create more partnerships for tourism products and experiences. This action item in turn would have a direct economic and social impact in the region. Eastman Tourism, we recognize that the City of Steinbach has their own visitor guide. You have an excellent website, and we don't want to recreate the wheel in that sense, but we also feel it's a great local tool, but we need to have a stronger regional vision and increase the mental map and awareness of Eastern Manitoba as a diverse and four-season travel destination. But to do this, we need strong partnerships. We encourage and we hope that as funding models progress, as policy is exerted into programs and practice, that Eastman Tourism can include the City of Winnipeg in our future tourism initiatives. So thank you.
Thank you. There might be a couple questions, I'm not sure. That was very interesting. Thank you very much. You didn't tell us the cost.
The cost for the City of Steinbach would be $1,500 if you were to join per annum. If you were to join right now, we do prorate the membership, so that would be
$1,500?
$1,500. So if the city were to consider it now, we would prorate it or do it.
There was additional tourism funding in the provincial budget in 2016 now, a few weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how that affects your organization?
Like I said, we have, right now, the bulk of the 96.4 is going to be organized and managed by Travel Manitoba, but we have a direct partnership, so the 6 regional tourism associations have a direct partnership with Travel Manitoba. That funding, the $250,000 they've allocated or communicated with us, will be funding that the RTAs can then access. We anticipate that that funding will be used mostly for marketing initiatives, but there's also some special projects funding that they've said that we will be able to tap into as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Siemens.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. 2 questions. Number 1, is the City of Steinbach ever been a partner?
I have been on the board for 8 years. And since that time, no. There have been businesses in the area, in the city, that are members, direct members, but not the City of Steinbach itself.
And the second question was, can you explain what 96.4 means?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure I would do it justice to explain it completely how it works, but we will get you that information. Colin Ferguson at Travel Manitoba has an information package of how that works, so I'll make sure to follow up and get that for you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. That was very interesting.
Thank you.
All right, Council, let's move on to 9A. We have the accounts payable in the back of the book. Can I have a... Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, we don't want to miss that. 8E, animal license fee report. This is on page 34. Mr. Workentine, I'll ask you to just briefly go over this.
Yes, this report that Council has in their package, it has been prepared in response to a request made by City Council at a past committee of Council as a whole. The direction provided was that administration investigate some possible options with respect to its animal licensing program that's currently provided the authority under its animal control bylaw. There is a schedule of fees essentially when it pertains to dog licenses in particular. There's a fee schedule that is presently there. To my knowledge, that particular fee schedule has not changed in my tenure at the city, which has been over 20 years, so it's at least the city's been able to control its fees in that respect. However, the fees that are being generated amount to approximately $1,000 per year as far as revenues for the city, and when comparing that to its annual operating costs to operate its animal control program, the city is looking at approximately a $33,000 annual cost. What administration is recommending, as is provided by some of the detail that is attached in the report, is that council consider increasing the dog licensing fees by $15 for each designated fee, as is noted in the schedule, to convert the fee schedule from a one-time lifetime license fee to an annual license program, and then with the estimated revenues of approximately $5,200 annually, the allocation of 1/2 of the gross revenues to offset some of the operating costs for the animal control program, and the other half of the gross revenues be allocated to a reserve fund for future capital expenditure allocation, and that is the recommendation from administration.
All right, thank you. Council, how would you like to proceed?
Question?
Sure.
What is future capital improvements?
It could involve, in particular, an animal control compound, where if there are capital requirements in respect to housing animals that are impounded, it could be that. And I am aware that members of the public have expressed interest in the city of Steinbach consider locating a dog park within the city, and those could be possible capital projects.
Thank you. Councillor Spijkstra.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Another question. According to the information here, the city issues between 70 and 80 licenses a year. I'm going to go on a limb, and I think we have more than 70 or 80 dogs, which would seem to indicate there's a significant number of people that don't license their dogs currently. With this increase in the fees, are we concerned at all that it would become even harder to get people to license? Like, is there any sort of mechanism to make sure that a reasonable percentage of people actually license their dogs? Because if a significant number of people aren't, how does this sort of play into that?
There is a risk that if the conversion is made to one of an annual licensing program, that the administrative follow-up and time spent on sending out notices to remind owners to license their pets could result in some additional costs. But administration hasn't looked into what the impact of that would likely be.
All right. Councillor Fair.
I guess through you, Mr. Mayor, to administration, the lifetime license fees that are currently out there, is that a contractual thing, or are we going to run into troubles if we're going to go and make an annual when somebody has actually a lifetime license?
Because the requirement for a dog license is authorized under Animal Control Bylaw 1892, at the time that City Council will change that bylaw and the according fee schedule and the requirement to license a pet on an annual basis, that would provide the authority in order to collect and require that licensing on an annual basis.
Thank you. Councillor Penner.
Yes, through you to administration. With all due respect to the work that you've done on this as a city manager, I'm wondering if perhaps what we're seeing here is something that has evolved and is not necessary any longer, if the intent of this was to have identification for pets. Currently, there are many ways to tag your pet, like computer chips and tattoos and things of that nature that were not available years ago when we instituted a licensing program for dogs. And I'm thinking if that is probably why few people, if any, think they need any identification for their pet, because they already have had identification utilized in another manner. So I'm thinking perhaps we should just take a step back and see if this is still a relevant bylaw for the city at this time, because we're obviously seeing that people don't feel that they need to register their dogs here and get a license. It serves very little purpose.
Councillor Swagstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to largely agree with Councillor Penner, and for a slightly different reason, although still along similar lines. If we look at it as it's presented here, fee increases, and we say it's to help cover the animal control costs that we already pay from general revenues, I think most people would look at this who own dogs and go, my taxes are going up. I'm paying these extra fees, and what am I getting? I know now on here it talks about 50% of annual revenues going to a reserve for future capital improvements. There's potential there. But I think we should actually specify something very specific, a specific benefit, and we put that out there and give people an opportunity, dog owners in particular, give us some feedback in terms of do they see benefit that for their fees to go up in order to have, for example, a dog park. I think that would be a better way to go than just to increase our fees, and that's out there, and we might have a future capital improvement. So I'm not saying that this can't happen at all, but I agree with Councillor Penner. I think it's a little bit quick to just, we're going to put up your fees and trust us, we're going to do something with it later. Because this is a significant, for people who have dogs, it is a noticeable increase in the licensing, and we don't want to discourage people from licensing the dogs, which is what this will do.
Okay, further questions? Just a question in regards to, I have to admit, I'm not a dog owner, so I don't know how this all works, but when it comes to the veterinarians that actually deal with a lot of the dogs in the community, have they been talked to at all on what is best for them, and would they have a solution that, is there a way to coordinate with them to have a better system than the simple old school of dog tags that we administer?
No, we have not. I believe the intent and purpose of an identification and licensing system within the city's bylaw is so that the city can regulate the control of pets and the control of animals in general within city limits. When it comes to issues of enforcement or dealing with problem pets, the licensing process that is embedded within the existing bylaw provides a readily available identification system that city staff is able to use when there is an issue where a pet can be identified quickly.
So the new technology doesn't affect this, of course, the way we're going about it.
Well, if there's microchips or tattoos in the ears, city staff right now, that type of identification system is not currently coordinated with the city, nor was it investigated as to whether there could be some coordination.
Okay. Councillor Penner.
I guess my comment, given what Councillor Penner and Councillor Swagstra said, I understand that side of things. But in my mind, I view it almost as a user pay for a potential dog park. So it's not even, it's generating revenue for something. I like that idea that it's generating revenue, say for capital improvement, which I would suggest the priority would be a dog park. So I'm not sure as to the whole actual identification of the pet, but I do like the idea of having funds coming in for that, for pet owners.
Swagstra?
Thank you, Mr. I think, just to be clear, in terms of the impact this has, right now, if you have an altered male or female dog, you pay $10 for the dog's entire life, and we get 70 or 80 people per year that do that, even though we know there's a whole lot more dogs. That's under this system, for spayed and neutered dogs, it would become $25 every year. That's a really big increase in terms of when you sort of, like, every year now we're making people pay We need to have a very specific plan of here, if it is going to be a dog park, we need to specify, here it is, here's the cost, here's the location, here's all the details, do you support it or not, and then we go ahead with it. Because right now, it's a really big increase, and all we're doing is promising that half of the money is going to go to some future capital improvements.
Councillor Penner.
And to clarify further, I think we're looking at two things. We're looking at identifying dogs. So we need to make sure we're up to date with that as a city as well, with common practices. And we're also looking at ways to fund a capital project for dog owners and their dogs. So those are two different issues, and maybe we need to just spend a little more time with this and make sure we're getting it right.
Thank you. Further discussion? Councillor Fair.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think I would concur with that. I know several people that have dogs, and those dogs that they have, they actually play a pretty significant role in their family life. It's companionship for a lot of these people, and a lot of people that can't afford to do a lot of other things that are much more expensive. So I'd be very reluctant to go and put the increase in that as has been indicated here. To go for maybe, if to go up, like to buy a one-time license fee and go up to $15 might be one thing. But I agree with Councillor Swagstra that if we had a specific purpose in raising funds for that, I could see support something like this. But as it is right now, I don't think we have a plan for that.
Further discussion? All right. Let me summarize, and then you can nod or not nod, whatever you'd like to do. But looking at this information, this is good information. It helps us clearly see the potential for, well, first of all, the costs that are incurred, but also the potential partial solutions. But what I'm hearing from council is that we want to, first of all, look a little more deeply into technology and whether there's a technology aspect to this that we can use that can be collaborated with the pet services industry in our community, as well as look at very specifically where those dollars are going to go before we act on increasing the revenue and increasing costs for dog owners. And so hearing those two items, what I would suggest is that we send it back to administration, giving us further details of those aspects, as well as possibly referring it to study session if there's any new information at that time. Are you comfortable with that? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for the information. We'll do a little bit more work on that this working. Thank you. We have 9E. We have the accounts payable in the back of the book. Can I have a motion to approve, please? Thank you, Councillor Funk. Seconded by Councillor Fair. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We have the financial statements ending May 31st, also in the back of the book. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Seaman, seconded by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We have 9C, Bylaw 2067. This is rezoning in regards to Stonebridge Crossing. This is the first reading. Mr. Warkentine, I'll get you to just briefly introduce this.
Sorry, just one moment. Mr. Mayor and members of council, this is application for rezoning, proposed bylaw 2067 for a property currently located on Stonebridge Crossing. Purpose of the application is to amend City of Steinbach zoning bylaw to rezone the subject property from RLD residential low density to RMD residential medium density zone. The applicant is proposing to rezone the property to allow for a future seniors housing complex to be developed in the property. At this point, the information that is provided is in council's package. The recommendation is that council give first reading, and this would provide an opportunity for the application to proceed to advertising and then to a public hearing.
Thank you. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner.
Move first reading.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Siemens, go ahead.
Yes, this is already, I believe, owned by Stonebridge, and I'm sorry, I've lost their name here. Ridge Park, thank you.
Yeah.
And they already have concurrent applications for, boy, sorry, I'm having issues with my brain today. Anyway, there are already future plans for another development here, and I think it's a good idea to explore it.
Very good.
It was difficult.
Councillor Siemens, you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would agree that we need to pass first reading so we can go to public hearing with it. There is a lot of seniors housing in that area already. This would add to what's already in that area. And so I think I'd like to hear from the public on this.
Very good. Anything further from council? Councillor Swagstra?
I'm convinced. Let's do first.
Any discussion?
I just have a question.
You have a question? All right, thank you.
Is there not a children's park on that property?
No,
No.
it is private property at this time.
Okay.
You might be seeing into someone's backyard there.
Okay. Thank you.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Mr. Warkentine, when will that public hearing be?
Tentatively scheduled for July the 19th.
Very good. Thank you. All right. We are on page 49. We have the municipal board appointment. I'd like to ask council to pass a resolution to appoint city manager as our representative. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Penner. Any discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. We have the 2015 Consolidated Financial Reports. This is on page 51. You've all had a chance to review those. I'd like a motion to accept them, please. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Fair. Any discussion?
You've seen these various times.
That's right. Thank you. This is one more time. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. We have the PSAB 2016 base budget. This is on page 96. There is a motion on page 96. We have passed our budget in a different form. Now we pass it in a PSAB form. Can I have someone move that motion? That is on page 96, please. Councillor Funk, second by Councillor Swagstra. Any discussion?
As again, we've seen these numbers many times, and we passed them for the final time.
Very good. Thank you. We hope it's the final time. Yes. Anything further? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor? Carried. Any questions of council? Seeing none, we have the correspondence from the Jacob Library on page 99. Take that as information. We'll now move to adjourn. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Penner. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.